In order to solve this system of linear inequalities, what we need to do is, first of all, treat this as if it were an equation and graph the line. Then go ahead and graph this one as a line. And then, because of the inequalities, we will either be shading above the lines or below the lines. So first, I would make a table of values for this one right here. So I would say 6x plus y equals 8. So just change it to an equation for a moment. And then make a table of values. And you can substitute whatever number you want in for x and solve for y, but what I like to do is use 0. That's easiest. So if I substitute that x was a 0, this right here would be 6 times 0, so that would be gone, and it would just say y is equal to 8. And likewise, we can do the same for y and say y equals 0. And if y were equal to 0, this would disappear, and we would have 6x equals 8. So then divide both sides by 6, and we would get 8/6. So that could be reduced to, if you divide them by 2, it would be 4/3, or 1 1/3. All right, now we do the same thing for this one over here. So let's just put it on the side. Negative 2x plus 3y is equal to 12. Again, a little table of values here. So if I let x equal 0, then this term right here would disappear. All I would need to do is divide both sides by 3, and that would say y is equal to 4. And then let y equal 0, and in that case this one would disappear, and you would get 2x equals 12. So if you divide both sides by negative 2, it's going to say x equals negative 6. Okay, now for the graph. So first of all, for this one there would be 0, 8. So 0 for x and 8 for y. Next is going to be 1 1/3. So if that's 8, right about there would be 2. 1 1/3 is going to be pretty small. 1 1/3. And then for that line, well, when you're graphing inequalities, if it has an equals, as in less than or equal or bigger than or equal, then you'd use a solid line. If it doesn't have an equals, like this one is just bigger than, then we use a dotted line. So then I just need my little ruler here, and this one will be a dotted line. The next thing to do is the shading. So what I do is the shading is either going to be over here on the right side of the dotted line or over here on the left-hand side. In order to find out, just pick a point on one side or the other. I think this one right here, 0, 0, is easiest. And then go to the inequality. If you substitute a 0, this is going to say 0 plus 0. Is that bigger than 8? In other words, is 0 bigger than 8? No. That means that this side was wrong, which means that the other side is right. So just a light shading right there. I just do a light shading because we're going to have to do this one as well. And where the two shaded parts overlap, that's going to be the final answer. That's because of this right here. It has to be this shaded one and this shaded one. Okay, now to this line. So we go to 0, 4. So 0 for x and 4. I'm going to make this one blue so I can tell the difference. And then this one says x is negative 6, so about over here. And y is 0. And this one does have the equal, so it's going to be a solid line. Nice straight blue line. And then we have to do the shading again. So with this blue line, the shading is either going to be above it or below it. So pick any point. Again, 0, 0 is easiest. And go back to the original problem. If you substitute a 0 here, this would say 0 plus 0, is that smaller than or equal to 12? So in other words, is 0 smaller than 12? Yes. That means that where that point was, down here, that's the side you're supposed to shade. Now the thing is, I'm supposed to be shading below this blue line, but I'm also supposed to be shading over here. So the final answer is where the two overlap. So if I lightly shade the blue, then where the two overlap, that's the actual answer. So the actual answer is this right here. It's scribble art. It's supposed to go all the way to the dotted line too. Okay, so there's the final answer, this blob right here. So if you pick any point in here, it will make this inequality true, and it will make this inequality true also.